We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go. Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, he's Mike. Welcome to our little corner of the podcasting universe. Hopefully you like the sound of our voices and you want to stick around for the show. Not that it stays in one place for long. I mean, after all, we are on the road with Mickey. So hop in the car and buckle up your seat belts because we've got an awesome adventure this week. Now, a brief rundown before we get moving. First up, our roundtable talk where we'll discuss the main topic for this week, followed by some Disney trivia ranging from Disney history to a random Disney character of the day. Well, that's just about it. Everybody ready? Let's get this show on the road.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike, and she's Sophie,
Hi.
and we're on the road with Mickey. This is episode 29 for July 25th, 2020, which is a different day than normal, but we are coming out of our Walt Disney World trip, and we are going to give a recap of what happened. It's been a busy, crazy week, so it's taken us a little bit to get this going. But
Yeah.
we'll be back on Monday. You can almost call this a double feature because
Mhm.
we're going to publish this on Saturday, the 25th, and we are going to be back on Monday, the 27th, with our normal episode. So so it's almost like two for the price of one, right, Soph?
Yep.
But before we get into our recap, we have just a little bit of cheddar from the big cheese. So we wanted to cover that a little bit. So, Sophie, why don't you take that away?
Okay. Well, upon returning back from Walt Disney World, we have some permanent closures that we need to put into light. Don't worry, the parks are still open and they
Yes, they
don't
are.
plan on closing anytime soon, at least not the ones in Florida. But there are 3 attractions that we have listed here that are not going to be reopening. And the first one is Primeval World. It's over in Animal Kingdom in Dino Land, USA,
Hmm.
and it was a seasonal ride anyway, so it only opened when the weather was right. It was not open when we went just because it was so darn hot outside when we went to Animal Kingdom, and because of COVID and them not wanting everyone to be crowded into one tiny little place.
Right.
And then next is one that I'm actually kind of upset about, and that
Yeah,
is
me
Rivers
too.
of Light, because we never got to see Rivers of Light. We had plans to see it in our March trip that turned into a July trip, but unfortunately, it will not be coming back. I guess maybe they didn't have enough people interested in it, or maybe it was just too early in the day. Maybe Animal Kingdom closes too early for there to be a night show.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, it there's a lot of speculation on why it's closing, about how maybe they're making Animal Kingdom back into just a daytime show or a daytime park, but I don't think that's quite it because I think, um, with Pandora and the way that looks at night, I think there's a lot to explore at Animal Kingdom at night. So I don't think that's quite it. But
Not to mention, Animal Kingdom is a nightmare to get through during the day.
yeah,
Like, it
but
is super hot there, so it's good for them to have night hours. That way, not all of their guests are going in the morning and then bailing out like we did by 1 o'clock in the afternoon because it's too hot.
exactly, exactly. Um, but anyway, we don't know why. We're just reporting. So, and then the last one is over at Magic Kingdom, and it's already been closed for a while. And it's Stitch's Great Escape. Did I get that right?
Yep.
I think that was the name
Yep.
that I remember reading.
Stitch's Great Escape.
And that one was kind of a crazy ride for us anyway. We weren't
Yeah.
entirely sold on it, and it closed and became a meet and greet. And of course, the meet and greet part isn't happening right now, so it may stay as a meet and greet later on, but I'm not sure. But as the attraction goes, Stitch's Great Escape will not be returning. So
Mhm.
anyway, those are the things we have from Cheddar from the Big Cheese. Most of the other news is all COVID type related. So we're going to cover a lot of things that we saw in our recaps. So there's no need to bring it up now. But that brings us to our feature topic, which for us was a recap of our trip to Walt Disney World. And I
Mhm.
thought we'd go into the positives, which there were a ton of positive things that happened at Disney while we were there, and also a few negatives. There were some negatives, but not that many. But I wanted to cover all sides of it. So Sophie, I think I'll start by talking about the trip down. You
Yeah.
know, we decided that we would fly, and we flew on Southwest. And the moment we got to our airport, which is RDU because we live in North Carolina and we're in Raleigh area, um, the moment we got to the airport, we were wearing masks, and we went through the TSA lines with masks on. We had to remove them briefly for them to just make sure that was us on our IDs. But we traveling through TSA was the security checkpoints was really simple. I thought there was a couple things, but nothing really out of the ordinary. And then boarding for our plane was handled quite nicely, I thought, as well. With Southwest, as most people know, you check in for your flight, and you are assigned a number from which to board, and that's your space to board, and then you pick whatever seat you want. And for most of the people, we actually were sitting much further up in the front of the plane and not so much in the back of the plane. So there was going down to Florida. It seemed like there was a lot more crowding in the front of the plane, and when we landed and looked, we saw that the back of the plane was practically empty. So
Yeah.
we remembered that for when we flew home.
Mhm.
Um, but Southwest was doing a really good job. They were limiting. No one was sitting in the middle seats except for if it was a family of three, like we were.
Mhm.
We took up a single section of a row. So we had a middle seat taken, but but predominantly the middle seats were not taken, and it was a quick flight, and it was a good flight. So I think it was totally safe being on the plane. Don't you think so?
I agree. Mommy might have been a little bit like,
Nervous.
yeah, nervous, but then again, she's already prone to air sickness as it is, so that's probably why.
Yeah, but she has these things that go on her wrist called C bands, and they help her really well. So
Yeah.
so if you are a listener that's prone to air sickness, check out these C bands because it prevents you from having to have like a Dramamine patch or something like that, and it tends to work. You apply them on your wrist, and
Mhm.
it hits a certain nerve or something, and that takes away any discomfort. So
Yeah.
I'm no doctor, so I don't know exactly how that works, but anyway, so that helps her, and if you have that issue, then look into that because it's an easy way to do that. Um, But when we got to Orlando International, one thing that we had to redo, we were originally signed up for Magical Express, but somehow in the course of all of our changes, because remember, like Sophie said, we were originally going to be going in March, and then we were going to be going in May, and now, of course, we went in July. And somewhere in the course of changing all that, um, the Magical Express reservation we had was lost.
Mm.
So we never got our tags, which they've changed that policy anyway. They're not collecting luggage and transporting it directly to the Magical Express buses now because of the COVID situations. But so we had to get our luggage and we had to carry it with us to the bus, but they had to enter us in for um, for our situation for getting transportation over, and that
Yeah.
was just a little bit of a headache. It wasn't a big deal, and at the same time, he put in our return flight information so that we didn't have to deal with that, um,
Hmm.
later on. So, but Magical Express was really nice. It was spaced out, so the bus driver told us where to sit, and there was a lot of social distance seating, and that was evident on Magical Express as well as on the bus transportation going to the parks.
Hmm.
They would tell you where to sit for the most part, and also where you needed to, you know, you know how it was spaced out. So
Yeah, they did a great job at making sure that you were safe and socially distanced so that the risk was minimal.
yeah, exactly,
They did a
exactly,
great job with that.
yeah. So we arrived at our destination resort, which was the cabins at Fort Wilderness, and we did go in and confirm our check-in because we didn't have a room assignment yet. Um, and so but as soon as we got there, they assigned our room, and so we had minimal interaction at the front desk, and they also drove us to our cabin because they knew we were came in on Magical Express. So,
Hmm.
um, and then from there, after we put our luggage up, we went to the Magic Kingdom, didn't we, Soph?
Yeah, and we got there pretty late on in the day, but let me
Yeah.
tell you,
What was it about
it was about,
11:30,
yeah,
11:45 when we got to the park?
almost noon actually,
Yeah.
I think. But let me tell you, in that amount of time, you would expect us that we wouldn't get that much done in the day. We got 11 rides done by the time the park closed.
And the park closed at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Um, and that included us, stopping and having lunch and snacks and stopping for um, to cool off, and to have a drink of water or whatever. You
Mhm.
know, we did a lot at the Magic Kingdom, and I think, bar none, probably for me, the Magic Kingdom was my favorite park because we could do so much on minimal wait times,
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were riding Peter Pan, and we were riding Big Thunder Mountain, and we were riding Seven Dwarfs, and Space Mountain with like 10-minute wait times. You know, it was just insane how quick you could go through a line, um, and ride those rides. About the longest line that we had was probably your Splash Mountain, I guess, right? Probably about
Oh,
20 minutes.
I walked right on to Splash Mountain.
Oh, um, so for Magic Kingdom, there's so many attractions to do that it really made it worth it to be there at
Definitely.
that time because we were able to do
Definitely.
a ton.
Mhm.
So
It
So that
was,
was a definite positive. And if you look at my background picture there, you see the you see an actual shot of Main Street from when we got there. You know, it was one of our days at Magic Kingdom, and you can just see how light the crowds were there. You know,
yeah,
so
it was amazing to say the least.
yeah. So, we did a lot of live streaming on Facebook, and I had a lot of people following along in our On the Road with Mickey group, and
Mm-hmm.
they really, and if you haven't checked out our group, feel free to do so. It's facebook.com/groups/ On the Road with Mickey group, and if you can't find it with the link, search for it in Facebook, and join in because we have a lot of fun talking about things, mostly Disney related, in that group. And you'll be able to watch a lot of our live streams because I was sharing them in the group the whole week, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just a lot of fun to see, and a lot of people enjoyed seeing the way the parks were, and being able to do some rides and to be able to do some different things. So it was cool to bring Disney back into to people's homes.
Definitely.
So um the next day was the 13th, and that day we were going to Animal Kingdom. And there were a couple negatives about Animal Kingdom, weren't there, Soph?
Yeah, there were some negatives, but it was also
There
like,
were a lot of positives still, though.
yeah, there were tons of positives.
You know, one of the things, one of the things about Disney this past week was it was super hot and super humid, and
Oh, yeah.
having the masks on because you had to wear your mask the whole time, and we were temperature checked when we got to each park. We were
Mm-hmm.
temperature checked all the whole time, and the temperature check was no big deal. They just put the temperature up next to you and took your temperature, and it was fine. And
Yep.
the masks really, um, it was harder with the masks. It
It
wasn't as much
was.
fun having to wear a mask,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's the rules of the game. So
And
it is what
people
it is.
people were really good about wearing the masks
Yeah,
too.
they were. They
Because
were really good about
they,
wearing their masks.
yeah, we all know that if we don't wear the masks, then Disney will close again, and we all know that we don't want that to happen.
Right. Um, but at Animal Kingdom, it was really super hot there. It felt worse than it did at the other parks, and
Yeah.
part of that is because of all the con, the pavement and things like that you have to walk on. But things um, like Pandora,
Yeah.
okay, Avatar, the world of Avatar, the ride was like 10 minutes, which was
Mhm.
insane. But the funny thing was that Navi River Journey we didn't ride because it had a long line, and the way we understood it was they were cleaning the boats after each person rode. So so that made it a longer line. So it took longer to get through, and it just just from our perception, it felt like they were
A lot
um,
more crowded
a lot more
in that
crowded. And
line.
we never really went over to stand in line to see if that was really the case. But it just
It's
felt like it was a more crowded and not as socially distant.
yeah.
Um, and that may not have been the case, but it might have been. Um, so we didn't ride Navi River Journey, even
Mm,
though I really would have loved to have videoed that because that's a
yeah,
great boat
it
ride.
is it is so beautiful in that ride.
Yeah. But being able to ride um, Pandora or the World of Pandora or whatever the
Flight
name of
of
the Flight
Passage.
of Passage. Thank you, honey. I'm just having a brain freeze there. But being able to ride Flight of Passage in a 10-minute wait was astounding.
Yeah, it was. It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, and it was everything that we expected it to be.
Hmm.
We were um, in a section and it was just us, and in another section there was a group and it was just their family, and so they spaced it out. I didn't have anyone sitting next to me that wasn't someone I didn't know.
Yeah,
So the problem with Animal Kingdom though was that it
they
was very
had
hot and we
and they
were
had
trying.
all the indoor attractions like the shows and whatnot. They had them closed.
Right, that's what I was going to say. They
Yeah.
It was so hot that there wasn't really any way to escape that heat. Um, we couldn't do Festival of the Lion King. We
Mhm.
couldn't do Finding Nemo the musical. Those were closed. They weren't open. Um, and about the only indoor attraction that we really could do was Dinosaur, and we did that. But it was we did it more because of the air conditioning than because of the ride.
Yeah, because let's be honest, I will never ever go on that ride because of the ride. It's always the air conditioning with me.
Yeah,
That ride is terrifying to me.
but she did go on it, so kudos to you, Sophie. Um, we did do Kilimanjaro safaris, and we did Expedition Everest with a 5-minute wait. Um, so those were cool.
Mhm.
And Expedition, I mean Kilimanjaro safaris, the way they have it set up is you get assigned a row for your family, and no one else that you don't know is in that row. And then they put up plexi, like plastic sheeting, um, between rows on each of the cars. So the row behind you will have people in it, but you've got that plastic sheeting in
Yeah.
place that kind of limits you from exposure from them. And of course, you're still wearing your masks,
Uh-huh.
and it was still good. Kilimanjaro Safaris was still a good ride
It
and still
was.
interesting. So that didn't really detract, in my opinion, from anything. And
Nope.
then, of course, Expedition Everest and all the roller coasters, you're not able to request being like in the front or the very back or anything like that. It's pretty much you get assigned what you get assigned for a row, and if you luck out and get in the very front, then good for you. And if you don't, well, then you
It's
try
fine.
again, maybe. Yeah,
Mhm. It's not like you have to wait a couple hours to try again.
right, exactly. So but like Sophie said, with the indoor stuff closed, it really did make Animal Kingdom feel like a half day park to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it definitely was.
and I think that's part of why the hours were set the way they were. It was set from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. because I think they expected most people to go right in the beginning of the day before it got super hot. So,
Mhm.
um, and then after we did Animal Kingdom that first day, and we were going to do Animal Kingdom a second day, but based on that experience of seeing everything we needed to see in that half day, we felt like it wasn't worth making a park reservation for Animal Kingdom for a second day. So we didn't. So we just went there just the one day.
Yeah.
Um, and then we did Magic Kingdom again, um, and then after the Magic Kingdom day on the 14th was the 15th, and that was our first day at Epcot.
Mhm.
And that was good. It seemed a lot busier at Epcot, and that I think was predominantly um, i- if we felt it most at the temperature checks
Yeah.
because there was a long line for temperature check.
Yep.
But I think it was busier because it didn't open till 11, and B, it was the first day that Epcot had opened.
Mhm.
We were there on that first day. So that I think everybody was excited to go to Epcot for that first day. And
Yeah.
so um but you know what?
What?
Once we got into the parks
Y-
and
It
it
sort of
really
thinned
kind of
out.
spaced out, and it was fine. Our first attraction was, of course, which one, Sophie?
Spaceship Earth.
Of course, because that's our ride.
Mhm. Oh,
And
oh, big cheese, big cheese. I forgot this at the beginning of the show. The renovations for Spaceship Earth, they were going to renovate it. Those have been canceled.
they're put on hold, yeah. And also, they were going to do a Mary Poppins attraction, and
Oh
that
yeah,
has
over
also
in the
been put on
UK.
hold.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, so the Spaceship Earth renovation is on hold, and I don't know what they'll do, but um, I imagine they'll do it at some point.
Mm,
But anyway, we had a great time doing Spaceship Earth. You know,
definitely.
we had it didn't stop in the middle of operation. We
Nope.
we had a slight delay getting on because we were there right before 11 o'clock, and so we had to wait a little bit because the park didn't open officially for attractions till 11 o'clock. So, but
Well,
it was great though, and once it started moving, it moved fast.
it
As far
did.
as the line. So it
We
wasn't
walked, but then again, that ride is also a non-stopping ride, so
right.
the flow is supposed to, in theory, it's continuous, and this time it was, so it seemed like it moved very fast.
Yeah. So it was definitely a great ride, and we were able to live stream that, and I don't think we had any situations where the live stream knocked out. We had a good connection for the internet to keep that stream going. So it was
Hmm.
really kind of cool. Um, so it was we rode Spaceship Earth at least twice, three times, something like that, and it was good. It was really good.
Hmm.
So and then other rides we did was Soarin',
Hmm.
which was really um, the Soarin' was interesting this time because there there was a longer line, and it said like 30 minutes, and it wasn't quite 30 minutes. I think it probably ended up being like 20 minutes probably.
Yeah.
But the problem was in the line, a lot of the line, it felt like the air conditioning wasn't working. And
Mm-mm.
so it was kind of steamy, very humid in there. And then once you got to where the cloudy waves on the ceiling are, that's when the air conditioning seemed to kick into place.
Hmm.
So so it cooled you down. And of course, soaring around the world is an awesome ride anyway. So
Yeah, it really is. I love soaring around the world.
yeah. So um so that was definitely worth doing, and we did that a couple of times during our days as well. So
Hmm.
um so that was good. And for dining, we ate at Sunshine Seasons because we were at a point where we're like, you know what, we need to get some food in our bellies.
Yeah.
And Sophie rediscovered her childhood of eating of eating
Uncrustables,
Uncrustables.
peanut butter and jelly. Sometimes you just need to order from the kids menu.
Yeah. And you know what? Um,
What?
we found throughout the week that if we were hungry, we weren't able to eat all the food we were given. So
Yeah.
as the week went on, even
The
mommy
kids,
started ordering from the kids menu,
yep.
and that was the perfect amount.
Mhm.
So
It really was. It served us well.
I had a some sort of grilled chicken. It was like a leg and thigh, and it had black beans and rice, and
Mhm.
it was really good. The girls didn't seem interested into it because of the rice and the black beans, but I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it was really good. So that was at Sunshine Seasons, and I would get that again. So
Okay.
um, some of the things that we also did is we didn't try a whole lot. Epcot on the 15th opened their Taste of Epcot Food and Wine. So it's kind of like an extended version of the Food and Wine Festival, but with some variations. And
Mhm.
um, one thing that we did try, based on our friend Deb's recommendation, right, Soph?
Right.
She's
We tr
podcast Deb.
Uh-huh.
We did
And
we did the over in Canada, we tried the filet mignon, and it was Sophie didn't try it. She's not a beef eater, but
no.
Cindy and I split it, and it was really dang good. It was $8.25, um, but it was a big piece of meat. It was enough for the two of us to share. It was a great mid-afternoon snack before dinner, and it had like a I don't know, almost like a cheese sauce on it and mushrooms, but
Mhm.
it was really good. Um, and then we also tried some different drinks, didn't we, Sophie?
Yes, we did. I actually have one of the sippers that we got because we decided, well, we didn't decide. One of our friends, Aunt Sheila, she asked us if we could get her and Jagan these sippers while we were over in Disney World because they couldn't find them in Disneyland and they're big sipper collectors. And
Yeah.
so we
So we got
got,
the orange bird.
uh-huh, Citrus Sunrise, I think is what it's called. And we got in that sipper cup, we got these orange cream milkshake
Hmm.
things.
It was
And
almost like, for old school people, it was almost like a creamsicle ice cream. It was so good.
mm-hmm, it was
And
great.
and that sipper with the drink was $15. Um, so if you are making a trip or dreaming of a trip and thinking about it, go try it out. It's over at the Citrus Blossom, I think, is the name of the stand. Um, and it's not far from the Canada Pavilion. So it's like between the main entrance, and then you head to the right, so you head counterclockwise towards Canada, and you'll see it.
Mm-hmm,
Um, and it was a really good shake. I
it
mean,
was.
it was super good. It was a nice treat.
And it
And
was refreshing on a hot day too.
yeah. So, and then over by the outpost, not far, just beyond what, China? Before,
Uh,
after China, before Germany, where the African outpost is.
yep,
Okay.
Pineapple Promenade, I
Yeah,
think is what it's called.
I think you're right. And they have the they have another type of sipper that they wanted, and that was who? What was it, Sophie? Do you
That
remember?
was Spike the Bumblebee.
Spike the Bee. Yeah. And for that sipper, you had your choice of frozen lemonade or like an icy Coca-Cola. Um,
Mhm.
and we actually got three of those, and and we had one of them with the lemonade and the other two with the Coca-Cola. And the Coca-Cola was better. The lemonade was good to start, but it also got kind of too tart as you
Mm.
went along. So I was the only one that was drinking the lemonade. So
Yeah.
maybe if it had been something we all shared, but my girls aren't into lemonade.
Well, mommy is a little bit more than me. I was just saving up for dinner,
Yeah,
saving space, because
and
we got those right before we went to the Garden Grill and had dinner, which was amazing, by the
it
way.
was really good.
Goldfish and macaroni and cheese is brilliant. You wouldn't think
Yeah,
about it, but it's amazing.
yeah. And then of course we had beef with a chimichurri sauce,
Hmm.
and we had turkey, and we had what else? Was that the two beef? Was that the two meat options?
Yeah, beef and turkey, and then there was stuffing, there
Hmm.
were green beans,
There was
mac and cheese.
incredible mashed potatoes. Oh,
Oh yeah, the mashed
and
potatoes were amazing.
like a corn succotash or something like that. That was really good. And of course, bread and butter and all that. And for dessert, they served like a berry pound cake or something like that.
Shortcake, strawberry
Shortcake.
blueberry shortcake.
Yeah. And it was really good with whipped cream on it. So it
Oh
was
yeah,
really good too.
it was
And
amazing.
we chose the Garden Grill because it was one of the two modified character dining locations. And so the way it worked, if you know the Garden Grill, you know how it's a round restaurant and it rotates slowly, and you have seating on the outside, and you also have seating on the inside that's up on the second deck, like two steps up. But the inside seating is not being filled. They're only seating people at the outside rows, and that's where we sat. And that is so that the characters can come visit you from a distance by leaning over the edge and look down at you. So
Which is
that's
fine
what happened.
anyway, because the view
Yeah,
on the outside is better.
right. The view on the outside, you get to see the Living with the Land boat ride scenes, and that's really part of the draw for the Garden Grill is that.
Which is a shame that
So
we never went and saw the Living with the Land.
yeah, we didn't get
Darn
into
it.
that one because there was a long line, um, and then also the second time we were going to try it was right near the end of the day, and it was closed down for cleaning, and the cast member, didn't think it would open in time before the park
Yeah.
closed. So we didn't get to do it, but we've done Living with the Land before, so it's not like we
Hmm.
lost out or had never seen it before. So
Yeah,
those are
it
some
was
of the
fun.
things you just save them for next time.
Yep, because there will always be a next time, especially with me.
Yeah. So other than the Garden Grill and Sunshine Seasons, we made it to some of the countries in World Showcase, not all of them. Um, but we did go to Canada and we saw the movie, and we
Yep,
also um, went
to
to
Mexico,
Mexico and we rode the Three Caballeros.
which
We
is
had to
my
wait a little
favorite.
bit. We had to wait a little bit on that one as well because they take time every hour or two to clean them, and they do a cleaning of the boats, and so it's cool to see. You don't want, no one ever wants to wait, but the flip side is that you do get
You
to
know,
they're cleaning them and they're taking care of it. So
yeah. And not to mention, at least we got to wait inside the pavilion.
that's
The
true.
beauty the beauty of the Mexico pavilion is that it's all indoors and
Yeah.
there's this lovely fountain that you can sit by and it's a really pretty sight.
Yes, it
So
is.
yeah, we
And
got
it's
to
like an
sit,
open air market, and it's like it's at night, so
uh-huh,
it's a
even though it's
great,
3 in the
you know,
afternoon.
yep, it's a great environment.
Mhm.
So, and with the Three Caballeros ride, they have these plexiglass barriers
Mhm.
between the rows, because you know how that queue is. You go and then you come back, and then you go and then
It's
you
a
come back.
zigzag
Yeah. And
and
so
it's very
to
hard
keep
to
this,
social distance.
yeah. So the the way they accommodate that is by putting up these plexiglass barriers between the rows. So that makes it so that you are isolated from the people on the other side of the railing. And
Mhm.
and that works, it is a little cramped. If you are claustrophobic, it might be an issue. Excuse
Yeah.
me. But
I mean, at least the plexiglass is see-through, so you're not feeling completely like you're in a box.
right.
Well, you might feel like you're in a glass block box, but it's not like you can't see what's going
Yeah.
around.
And if you've been on the ride before, it's not a long queue anyway. So it's not a super long time that you're waiting there. So,
Mhm.
5 or 10 minutes probably max. So
Yeah.
not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. And just like in the other areas of the different the different parks, they have places for you to stop so that you're 6 feet from the party in front of you while you're in line. So it works well. They did a really good job. They put a lot of time and effort into it,
Mhm.
and I think they did a really good job of making sure that it was good for everybody, you know?
Mhm.
So and of course, once you get on the Three Caballeros, well, then you're in Three Caballeros world. You don't even think about the social distancing.
Nope.
and you
Thankfully,
don't
they
have
take care of that for you.
yeah, you don't have to think about it, because they put us in like the back of the boat or the front of the boat or something like that, and someone else would be in the very back of the boat. So there's a lot of
Uh-huh.
space between the two parties.
There are like
So
5 rows of empty space between each one. So yeah, they definitely take care of that.
yeah. And so all you have to do is worry about enjoying the ride.
Uh-huh.
So now, some things that we didn't get to try at Epcot. We didn't ride Frozen
No.
because it was a long line, and it just felt like it wasn't worth it. We've ridden Frozen before, so it just felt like it wasn't worth waiting in the line.
We
Um,
actually didn't get that far into World Showcase,
no,
really.
we did. There was a lot we didn't do at World Showcase. We didn't get up to the top of it. We didn't do American Adventure. We didn't eat at Sam Eagle. Those are all things that we're gonna have to tackle next time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do the China show,
No.
or the France, anything in France or anything like that. And we didn't have our fish and chips over at the Rose and Crown,
Yeah,
which
you're right.
so all things that we'll tackle.
Yeah.
One of the negatives at Magic Kingdom was that some of the quick service places that we thought were going to be open weren't open, and that included Columbia Harbor House. And it was crazy because you have to learn really quickly to rely on your app, rely on the
Yeah.
My Disney Experience app,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to walk all over to a dining thing that you're looking forward to and get there and find out that they're closed, because
Yeah,
that's just no fun, especially when you're really hungry. So,
and really thirsty too.
yeah.
But on a lighter note, it did actually help guide us to try a restaurant that we've actually never eaten at before, I don't think. I don't think we've eaten at the Pecos Bill Cafe, have we?
No, we hadn't. Um,
But it was a great restaurant.
yeah.
It's huge too. You don't think about it, but it is so big inside that restaurant.
Yeah.
Like there's probably enough space. Like even if we weren't social distancing, you could probably fit like the entirety of Frontierland inside that restaurant.
You probably could. There's a ton, like you said, Sophie, there's a ton of seating, and it really does play out, and it's big enough that they have their own restrooms inside, you know.
Mhm.
So so there's a lot of ways to to be socially distant and still enjoy the meal. I had nachos with ground beef, and it had cheese sauce and great chips, and oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what you girls had, but you seem to enjoy it. I think mommy had a burger, but
Yeah. That was one of the days where I ordered off the kids' menu, so I ended up having mac and cheese, and it was great mac and cheese too. It wasn't like the Kraft mac and cheese, but
yeah, it
it
was,
was good.
yeah.
Well, on that note, Daddy, we are actually getting close to an hour, so I think we ought to split this into a part two, don't you?
Well, um, if you want to, we could talk about the last the last park that we haven't talked about yet, and how that was on a
That's
different show. If
true.
you want to do that.
Yeah, I think it would be best for us to do that because there are still so many things that we haven't covered about the first three parks.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah,
All
I
right.
think in that case, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my This Day in Disney History.
You go.
And, okay, well, I've got something really special for you guys. And, Daddy, I know you're going to love this one. I am going all the way back to July 25th of 1959. And on
Okay.
this day, the Ernest S. Marsh locomotive takes its first inaugural run around Disneyland at the hands of the chief engineer. And can you guess who that engineer is?
Walt Disney.
That is right. And
Nice.
affectionately deemed engine number 4, I believe that's the one that we ride on today, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know which one we ride on, but I have a really cool photo of the the one of the locomotives at Walt Disney World, which is the Roger Brogy, and
Ooh.
it's just a beautiful locomotive. But what I really like about that is that we met his son Michael, and we actually bought a book of his that talks
Hmm.
about the interaction and how the trains, and how Walt loved the locomotives and the trains, and how they came up with the ideas and stuff like that. So it's a really cool book. But
Yeah.
but but I don't know. I don't know which one we normally ride over there. So that's something I gotta think about. But
Hmm.
but that's cool. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that is all I want to share with today.
Okay. Well, I am looking up two little things real quick. Let's see here. You know what? I've I've got um my Disney Who's Who character,
Hmm.
And now I've got a Walt Disney World quote as well. And I think the Walt Disney World quote really does sum up um, our experience from last week, you
Definitely.
know. But first, I am going to give you our Who's Who character, and he is a dog.
Hmm. Is he a talking dog?
Yeah, because he talked in the movie.
Hmm.
He was a puppy, though. You want me to just give it to you?
Yeah, there are too many talking dogs on Disney.
Yeah. Our Who's Who character for today is Patch from 101 Dalmatians.
Oh. Oh yeah, I never would have guessed that. I would have guessed all 14 of his brothers and sisters.
But more than anything, Patch longs to be a hero. He was the only one to fight back when Cruella's henchmen abducted the puppies, and he even stood up to Jasper when the villain spoke harshly to his brother
Hmm.
Lucky. Patch looks up to his father as a role model and idolizes Thunderbolt, the dog star of a popular TV show. He has seen and memorized all 72 episodes of Thunderbolt's show. Pat Patch has a bit of a rivalry with his brother Lucky. The two are always vying for the best spot in front of the TV. In spite of this, Patch is very protective of Lucky. Patch has one black ear, one white ear, and a black patch around his right eye. Hence the name, right, Sophie?
Yep.
Um, Now, one bit of did you know?
Hmm.
Sophie,
Yes.
did you know that Patch has 32 spots?
No, I did not.
He was the only puppy born with black markings. The others were white at birth and developed black spots later.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So Patch is very unique.
Hmm.
And
And I
that's
have a
my Who's
tiny
Who
bit of
character.
did you know about Lucky?
Go for it.
Did you know that there are two reasons why Lucky is named the way he is?
Why?
One is that he was the puppy that we saw at the birth of the puppies who needed to be resuscitated.
Mm-hmm.
And two is because he has a ring of spots on his back that resemble a horseshoe.
That's right. I think I knew those, but I haven't seen the movie in a while, so I would have forgotten.
Hmm.
And now, my Walt Disney quote. And I think this sums up very much so what it was like going to Walt Disney World last week, Sophie. This is Walt Disney talking about Disneyland, but I think it applies as well to Walt Disney World.
Hmm.
And Walt says, and I quote, Disneyland is like Alice stepping through the looking glass. To step through the portals of Disneyland will be like entering another world. And
I
that's
agree.
exactly what it was like, wasn't it, Soph?
Yep.
It was parts of it were very emotional for me because it's just such a awesome place to visit, but parts of it were fun and there was we were worried about Disney Magic a little bit, but the Disney Magic was there the whole time,
Hmm.
and we experienced it over and over again. And the cast members were so friendly. They were so excited to see everybody. They knew when I was live streaming and they would be like waving at the cameras. The same thing with the cast members that the face characters and the fur characters that we saw. They would wave. They knew what we were recording.
Yeah,
So,
it
and
was great.
and one of the things I'm going to do, and then we're going to stop for the day. But one of the things I'm going to let people know is I'm going to take those live streams because I saved all of those files, and I'm going to see what I can do to make them into movies for the YouTube channel
Mhm.
and put
And
them up on YouTube because I think that would be a lot of fun. Um, but anyway,
definitely.
that's what we've got for this week. So next week we are going to have part 2 of our recap of the things that we experienced at Walt Disney World, and then after that, who knows what our next topic will be, right, Soph?
Who knows?
But anyway, thank you, Sophie, for joining me as
Thank
always.
you for having me.
And I look forward to next week and completing our recap of our Walt Disney World trip, and
Mhm.
touching base on some of the really cool stuff we saw at Hollywood Studios.
Oh yeah, I have a lot to talk about with Hollywood Studios.
Yes, you do. Um, Anyway, let me just remind everyone that On the Road with Mickey is sponsored by Pixie Vacations by Mike Ellis and Tech Solutions NC. If you have any travel or computing needs, reach out to us. You can reach Mike for travel at mike@pixievacations.com or on Facebook at Pixie Vacations by Mike Ellis. Or if you have any computing issues, reach out to Mike at techsolutionsnc.com for the website, or on Facebook under the same name. So thank you, Sophie, for joining me, and I will talk to you later, and we will
See you
see
on
you
the
on the
road.
road. Great.
Bye.
Bye. Great job, honey.